1, 2, 3.
Oh, hummingbird, mankind is waiting for you to come by along.
Well, I used to do a lot of things for the wonderful Baha'i Seals and Crofts.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine.
And they couldn't read music, but what wonderful, great musicians they were as far as playing, just natural. They'd give me a cassette of what they had recorded, and I have to listen to and write down what they'd done, and then I'd write for the strings or whatever we were going to add and go into the studio. The musicians come in and read it right off. And Jimmy Seal said, "Russ, you've done more in 4 hours than we've done in 9 months."
See the smile waiting in the kitchen, who's cooking in the plates for two.
If you know where I can get some humility lessons, I'd appreciate it.
1, 2, I don't know what to do.
I love to do big band jazz, which I got quite a few calls to do this in back of singers and such.
We need a singer.
Rather than splitting it up amongst saxophones and trumpets like a regular big band would do, he used just 4 trombones and a rhythm section, and that allowed him to not only swing hard and produce a large sound equivalent to a big band, but also very melodic tones that allowed him to sort of really accentuate a melody, sort of like a French horn would sound. So it's a really a big spectrum that he gets to cover with those 4 instruments, and no other band leaders that I know of capitalized on that sound.
You are the promised kiss of springtime that makes the lonely winter seem long, poetic. It's a little better than yeah, yeah, baby.
Russell is the most famous person you've never heard of. And that's true to a certain degree. To the general public, perhaps, certainly not to musicians around the world. But for the general public, the one thing that always gets them is when I say Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, Porgy and Bess. They know it was Russell Garcia. Yes, please.
When they said, we want to do Porgy and Bess, Mel Torme and Francis Faye, I said, which one is Porgy?
And the cotton is high.
All this praise, I won't be able to get my head through the door.
We became Baha'is on the Sunday. We met with the local assembly. The very next Friday, we started our first fireside.
As I walked into the house, there was Russ meeting me at the door with his big smile and his big welcome. And I asked him a few questions about what do Baha'is believe about God. And he said, as he usually says, go ask Gina.
Every year now in the Bay of Islands up north in New Zealand here, Gina and I put on a race unity day. The mayor up here loves it so much. She keeps insisting that we do it every year. And we have people from all different countries dressed in their native costumes doing a song or a dance or some kind of thing that's interesting entertainment. And the people love it.
We are sisters and brothers. We are a coat of many colors. You and me and you and me. We are one family.
You know, it started off with Atom Bomb and the orchestra just went crazy. And a voice comes over, annihilation or peace, the choice is yours. And then the choir comes in, peace is possible, da, 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 da. But we don't have that, so we're gonna do that with just the pictures. And we've got a lot of famous people who have wonderful things to say about peace.
And we kept our firesides going all the time, even when we weren't there. sometimes, you know, we had to go to a premiere, or we had to maybe even go to Europe to work or do something, we still would get Baha'is to come and hold that fireside on that particular night, because we had people who would continue to come, sometimes great distances. Sometimes we wouldn't see someone for about a year, and then they would show up, you know. Or Baha'is would come and bring some of their inquirers and their friends, you know, to meet us.
You never knew who you might meet when you went to their house. Gina was always a very, or is, I should say, is a mindful hostess. And coupled with Uncle Russ, well, they're just a dynamic duo, and yeah, we're going to miss Uncle Russ.
They used to have 40 to 80 people at their house at a Baha'i meeting, and I've never had so much fun in my life as at their house.
Here in New Zealand, we followed the advice of Shoghi Effendi because technically we were in a place where we knew no one. The closest Baha'is were about 50 miles away. That was Manu and Margaret Alai, a beautiful family of Baha'is. And we didn't know really that many people here. And so one of the things we did is what Shoghi Effendi said. He said, make friends. Let people know you, get to know them. And we still follow that advice today. So we are constantly, of course, through our music, through the work we do at the schools, through all kinds of things, we are constantly meeting new people. And you have to be able to meet people to share the faith with. And that's the simple truth. And if you don't get out and meet people, you know, if you become so insular, you don't have anyone to tell.
And I said, excuse me, and they turned around and they said, well, I'll be darned, June Ritter, what are you doing here? And I dropped everything, because how can they remember who I was after all these hundreds of people? I was very, very impressed.